The brand new upcoming Squadron carrier is going to be one of the largest ships in the game. In fact, it's been confirmed that it will be larger than a fleet carrier. Now this is coming as a part of Elite's next big update, which is called Vanguards, and should be releasing in the summer. It's an update that's another step along the evolutionary path that appears to be taking Elite Dangerous towards a traditional MMO format. Well, at least that's my opinion. After all, Vanguards introduces a squadron system that is very much like a guild system. So let's talk all about that, as well as the Squadron carrier itself. So the Squadron carrier is going to be a group-owned ship, and this is the first time we've seen anything along that sort of lines in the game. This is going to work in a very interesting way because essentially any members of the Vanguard, any members of the Squadron will be assigned roles. These roles are derived from ranks, and they will determine the sort of functionality, the abilities, the capabilities that the player would have. And yes, this also includes perks. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. What are perks? Well, the ability to gain extra mining and other such fancy abilities as well are going to be very useful, but more on that in just a moment. So this Squadron carrier, players who are granted rights, the correct rank, will be able to pilot its jumps to be able to select which destination they want the ship to go to. So it will no longer be dependent on a singular owner for the carrier to do this. And again, those with the relevant ranks will also be able to fuel the carrier as well as open or close its services. So there's definitely an element here of a guild-like structure where people are assigned ranks, and those ranks will allow them to serve certain functions. Now, as for the size of the carrier, well, Frontier wants the deck of the Squadron to feel very busy and a live place where a lot of squadrons can take off all at once. A lot of different ships there. I mean, just look at all these landing pads. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any footage of what the Squadron carrier looks like, or indeed the other parts of the Vanguard's update just yet, but we do have a lot of screenshots, a lot of mock-ups, which I'm going to show on the screen right here. We've seen a few of them already. So the Squadron carrier is not just about owning a ship or a place to land, it is far more than that. It is, in all essence and intents and purposes, a full-on guild base. This is your central hub, your home for your squadron, your friends, and everyone else that's going to be coming along with you. Now, Vanguards hands every new formed squadron a bank. This is something that you'll get almost instantly when you create a new squadron or a new Vanguard. And at first, this will only store credits, but everything is governed by permission groups, pockets of money that multiple ranks can withdraw from, each with its own cap. Picture one pot marked Friday repair bills that dishes out up to 500,000 credits a week to every regular member, and then another labelled logistics, where officers can access 50 million for bulk trades, and basically you can set this up how you want. So when a group finally scrapes together the massive price of a Squadron carrier, just guessing there, we don't know what the price is going to be, but obviously it's going to be larger and higher than a fleet carrier, the bank will sprout its physical side, the bank will grow and have another system with it. So just to be very clear here, you can create a guild, a squadron, a Vanguard, whatever you want to call it. This is entirely separate from the Squadron carrier. You don't have to have both, but when you do eventually work your way up to have a Squadron carrier, it will expand the functionality of your squadron. So what will happen is that the bank will grow. So where we previously spoke about having access to funds, instead you'll now have permission groups that have access to Olympics, weapons, and even ships. Yes, you'll be able to essentially borrow a ship from your squadron. No details just yet on exactly how that's going to work. Now, as for the squadron itself, when you first create a squadron, this will have a fee with it. I think in today's terms, when it comes to Elite Dangerous, this is a relatively modest fee. It's a pretty low one. That is 10 million credits. So Frontier say that is the starting price at the moment. They may change it when it goes to the live build, but that's basically the principle they're working at right now. You'll also notice that each of the squadrons does have a particular focus for it, and this is determined by the squadron leaders themselves. Depends when you set it up, what do you want the focus of your squadron or your Vanguard to be all about. It could be mining, it could be trading, bounty hunting, exploration, xeno combat, or more. You can choose one of these when you create your squadron or multiple ones, and then future recruits can filter those when they're searching for a squadron to join. And squadrons do come with a load of benefits, some particularly interesting ones here, and this I do think is a pretty big shake-up for Elite Dangerous, is the concept of perks. Perks attached specifically to squadrons. Here, each squadron chooses a pair of bonus perks. The primary perk is active everywhere, all the time, so when you join a squadron, you will gain whichever perk that has been attributed to that squadron. You can see a list of those on the screen right here. There'll also be a secondary perk, and this one only triggers in the systems where the squadron's allied minor faction is the controlling government. So the more you expand the influence of that controlling government into other star systems, the greater your benefit will actually be, the more areas you'll be able to use this secondary perk in. Interestingly, these perks include things such as increased mining fragments when you're mining, so you're about to gain more fragments much faster than people who don't have the perk. There's also the ability for faster rank XP gain on NPCs, reduced synthesis costs on ammunition, model limpets, and, well, there's many other things as well. You can see them all listed on the screen right here. Now, Frontier were very keen to say that they're going to keep an eye on all of these perks because obviously they come with the very real possibility of breaking the game if not implemented correctly. Frontier also touched on other features that come with the Vanguards update and Squadrons. These include things such as leaderboards and also the bulletin board. On the bulletin board, players, people in charge of the guild, those who have the correct rank, will be able to post messages onto the bulletin board, and these can include instructions of what they'd like players to do, or they can simply be messages on where they'd like players to meet. Basically, this is a news hub, a news board for people within the squadron. Players will also be able to design their own emblem for their squadron as well, so that should hopefully keep things a little bit of a little nice mix of variety in there, as well as keeping things somewhat interesting. So that's where things are right now. I did mention a while ago that I really feel that Frontier are working towards somewhat of an MMO functionality for Elite Dangerous. It's always had elements of this, but it's never been quite what I would class as a full-on MMO. It does appear that it's getting much closer to that with the Vanguards update, because like I said at the start of the video, in my mind, this is to all intents and purposes a full guild system. A shared squadron carrier is also pretty significant because this is a home base, mobile home base at that, for your squadron. And where things are going to get really tricky with this is the fact that squadrons are going to be able to maneuver their base around the galaxy, go to the locations they really want to work in and make advantage of, whether that's working towards power play, the background simulation, or just exploring deep into space. It's a really curious feature because ultimately it speaks to the ability of having a full mobile squadron, and that's going to bring a lot of gaming opportunities with it. It also makes me wonder what Frontier have in mind for the future of the game because, well, at the moment they appear to be constantly expanding the direction and functionality of what Elite is all about. Very nice time for the game and, well, it's growing nicely. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments section below. Will you be creating a squadron? Do you want to have joint control over a squadron carrier? What will you be doing with this? Do you think it's a nice addition to the game? Let me know in those comments below. Thanks for watching this video all the way through. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.